Hello and welcome to Reggie's Recess, where you get real talk about real relationships. Of course, I am your host, Reggie Rogers, renowned relationship coach, singles empowerment coach, host, television host, radio show host, podcast host, something in there for everybody. But I am Reggie Rogers, number one relationship coach, and this month we have been talking about this, what we call a provocative topic. And because I deal with provocative topics, I do my best to always provide you with the best guest. So this month, we have been talking about bringing sexy back. But what is so important about bringing sexy back is understanding how to attract what you want. So start attracting what you want. And the word sexy has been used for so many different purposes. To be sexy used to be a bad thing. If you were sexy, you couldn't also be smart. You couldn't be accomplished. You couldn't be kind. And there are a number of women who have a complicated relationship with this word sexy. Why do they have a complicated relationship with being sexy? Sexy is not an item of clothing. It's not a label that puts you in a box. Sexy is really a badge of honor to describe a powerful energy that you have within you. So today, I'm going to have a guest who is a male. We're going to talk from a male conscious perspective. And we're going to look at this word sexy in regards to women from a conscious male's perspective. And he's going to bring the goods. We're going to have a delightful dialogue. And so my guest today is none other than Mr. Gabriel Brown. You see that fine gentleman right there? That's my guest today. I don't mean fine in terms of his look. I mean fine in terms of his character. So don't get it twisted, okay? In terms of his character. So that's my guest. We're going to have what we call a delicious dialogue, what we call a delightful dialogue, and we're going to have a meaningful dialogue and talk about bringing sexy back from a male's perspective. What is sexy? And we're going to try to give you some nuggets in regards to you attracting what you want. We will be right back after this commercial, and my guest will be Gabriel Brown.
I am Ernest L. Thomas from the Waldens, and you need to download the Win Network app now, or else it's gonna be tragic. Tragic!
You hear me say every week, if you have not downloaded the Win Network yet, you need to do so. You need to download the Win Network. I come on the Win Network Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Win Network is a great network. They have great movies, 24/7 programming. Make sure you download the Win Network. You have to have that in your arsenal. That's www.win, W-Y-N-N, network, Win Network, just as you see it right there, the winnetwork.com. Make sure you get that in your arsenal. And as you just heard Raj say, you remember Raj from What's Happening? He said, if you don't have this, it's tragic. Well, the Win just put out a new movie. It's called The Playhouse. It's in theaters. It's actually, you can download it as well. And Raj is one of the characters, which is Ernest Thomas. So if you have not seen The Playhouse yet, download the Win Network. You can also see me on Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Win Network. So my guest today is none other than my friend, my brother, Mr. Gabriel Brown. What's happening, sir?
Oh, man, I'm honored to be here with you. I'm so excited to, get into this topic with you. And I hope I don't offend my thoughts about this. So
let me tell my guests who you are and what you do, because it's important. So Gabriel's an author. He's a speaker. He's a credit mentor. Gabriel has personally mentored thousands of credit challenge individuals in the past 15 years, whether it was online, whether it was in person, through his one-on-one consulting. He's an author. He's got books. He does books and free live financial literacy workshops. Okay, so I had to say all that because I'm letting you know he bring the good. He's going to bring the goods. So we're going to have a delightful dialogue. We're going to have a delicious dialogue. Gabe, let me ask you, what do you sense happening This is off. Just what do you sense happening in the atmosphere right now? It's spring. We went from spring to this hot summer, and typically, they talk about spring flings. And so I felt like it would be good to talk about, bringing sexy back because we go from spring flings, and they say that the hottest relationships typically happen in the summer months, but people are coming and going. So the relationships are happening very quickly, and then they're moving on because in the winter they're hibernating. So what do you sense happening in the atmosphere right now, Gabe?
Oh, I think everyone's ready to get out. Since COVID, we've been, housebound and not able to move around and feel comfortable with people. I know I wasn't feeling too comfortable out in public. And I think now that we got about 60% of the country vaccinated, I mean, everyone is ready to get out and spread their wings. So you would expect that. You would expect that. So we're seeing a lot of that happening.
That's really good because we are seeing a lot of that happening. Somebody just chimed in over in the chat section and said, "Bring the goods, Gabriel." So listen, I done hyped you up. We got Yolanda in Texas saying, "Bring the goods." So we got to do it, Gabe. So since she said that, it's loaded, Gabe. So I'm gonna start off. What does sexy mean to you?
Oh man, I tell you, to unpack that, as I get older, it changes. I mean, of course, when I was younger, you probably would think what a young man would think sexy is. But now I've gotten a little salt and pepper and over 40. Sexy to me is a woman that is operating in the fullness of her being, her nature, her purpose, and is consistently consistent in her ways and looks attractive and appealing if she's a homemaker or a business maker. That's what's sexy to me.
So she's flexible. She's able to be a chameleon. It doesn't matter what she does. She's able to flow wherever she finds herself operating in. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because when I say operating in the fullness of your being or her being, some women are, uncomfortable being in certain roles as a woman. Some women don't want to be a mother too soon. And so that can make women angry. And then they don't look as sexy anymore because they're bitter, because they feel like they've given their lives up to their kids. Some women know how to handle that and still be attractive and still have an energy about them where their nature, they didn't lose their authenticity. They didn't lose their purpose. They still have that, that fire and spark for life. So they didn't get bitter, they got better. And that's
Good.
sexy. That's sexy.
Good.
Yeah.
And I started off this by saying, some women have what I call a complicated relationship with this word sexy. Why? Because, sexy has been defined in so many ways. Some people define sexy in terms of what someone wears. And so we really put this sexy in a box. But what I'm hearing you is you're opening this box and you're increasing or enlarging this word and taking it into a whole different sphere, because you talked about your being, and I think that's very important. So one of the questions that I ask is not proper English. One of the questions I ask is who you be. What do you consist of? What is really your being? And I think that's very important because one of the words that I've been hearing that's been consistent through this topic for this month is the word confident.
Confidence.
Now, I've had women that have come on and they keep talking about, a woman's who's complicated, because remember, back in the day, they thought if you were sexy, you couldn't be smart, you couldn't be accomplished, you couldn't be kind. So now we've kind of dispelled that. You can be accomplished, you can be smart, and you can be kind. So when I say to you, you kind of answered it. So sexy from a male's point of view is someone who is comfortable in their being.
Yes, you have to be, because sometimes women will compete for you for your role, in the house as a man, as a leader, or the head of the home. That's not being comfortable in your being. Play your position, I'll play my position, right? And then if your nature, the reason I say operating in your nature is because you have to be authentic, right? You can't be pretending with your man. You have to open yourself up, show your weaknesses and your strengths. That's sexy, right? Be authentic in your nature. And then your purpose. Sometimes we lose ourselves in other people's purpose, our mate's purpose. And I think sometimes women don't feel like they're fulfilling their purpose if they're supporting you. And they lose a little bit of their inner glow, and then they're not as sexy in their own eyes. So those three things coming together, and then being consistently consistent in your ways. Because, sometimes people change their ways depending on the environment they're in. No, be consistent. So your man knows who you are and you represent who you are at all times, because we can be in relationships with people for 5, 10 years and really not know who they really are unless they are absolutely comfortable in their being, authentic in their nature, found their purpose, and consistent in their ways. Then everything else looks attractive. If they're a homemaker or a business maker, then they're sexy to me.
Consistently consistent. I've got another chat over here in the chat room. They said, Gabriel, guns are loaded. Got somebody in Pittsburgh saying, Gabe, love it.
Yeah, appreciate
all right,
that.
so there you go. So you said how sometimes people can be inconsistent, and you're sexy to you as somebody who's consistently consistent.
Yes.
I think that a lot of that to me, Gabe, has to do with character. Well, let's acquiesce from that for a moment, because a lot of times you made a great point. Women lose themselves because they hide themselves in their mate. So when they lose themselves, they hide themselves.
Yes.
So because they hide themselves, because they lost themselves, there's this complex, complicated consciousness that's developing because of the fact that they're hiding themselves, but they've lost themselves. So the problem for a lot of women is when there's a breakup, they end up not knowing who they are anymore because they've hid themselves for so long. So now the confidence is diminished because they became what they thought their mate wanted them to become. So
Yes.
that becomes a huge distraction for a lot of women. So sexy to me is a woman who is very confident in who she is without having to hide herself, but still feel good about being in her own skin. I'm getting something in the chat that says what is that? Authenticity, it should say. Operate in your nature, purpose, consistent in your ways. Yes. So Gabe, you got them hyped over there. Come on. You got them going over there, Gabe. So what else you got to say?
And then I would like to interject, loses herself in a man and then she finds herself back out dating. I think it's the man's job to help a woman redefine herself. And I say this to any woman that I've ever dated. I said, if we get together, if we become one, all I ask of you is to be the woman. That's it. I don't need you to be anything else but a woman. Define that because I can't define that. And I said the fullness of her being, and operating in the fullness of her being and her nature, and then her purpose. Have those things on her side of the table before I would even feel sexy or could exude the sexiness that is real and authentic. Because we can pretend to be sexy. We can dress up and put the music and get the environment right and pretend to be sexy. But, inside we really, have really not given our all. Okay. You ever tried to participate in a sexy maneuver to a woman you're not interested, but she gives in for you, right? It's better when she's ready instead of to, trick her out of her affection.
Agree. I totally agree. Because the thing, there's two things that are underlying there that you said. One of the things that's underlying is competing versus complementing. So we can't be in a competition, but a portion of what you said early on was you find sexy when there's somebody else has a strength and someone else has a weakness. But when you're able to mesh and bring those two together, so where I'm weak, you're strong, and where you're weak, I'm strong, but it doesn't diminish who we are. We've learned how to maximize and get the best out of that by utilizing and putting you in a position where you're winning because that's your strength, and putting me in a position that I'm winning because that's my strength. So we bring the best out of each other. That is extremely sexy, man.
Yes. That's what it is. That's what it is. Someone told me, he said, the sun hangs in the sky because hydrogen burns off and creates helium. And then helium burns off and creates hydrogen. And that continues to go over and over and over until we actually have that big ball of fire in the sky we call the sun. I think that's what a relationship is with a man and a woman, right? You infuse the woman with your effort, and then she reinfuses you, and you continue to synergy back and forth, so you look good together, right? You look good together. So I'm hoping that that everyone that unions is not just looking at the physical attraction, but looking at the inner being as well. And when you bring that inner being out, a woman can be even more sexier for you.
Wow, Gabe, you saying so much here, but that's the epitome of yin and yang.
Yes.
Most people talk about yin and yang, and they don't really understand that one can be the yin and one can be the yang, and so they're opposites. But opposites, when you put the two formations of the yin and yang together, there's a little separation between the two, but they're merging.
Yes.
So opposites, understanding that I don't want somebody who was just like me, because then that makes one of us obsolete. You see? But I want someone who can understand that, yes, we do have some differences, but I'm not going to be condescending towards yours, nor are you going to be condescending towards mine. But how do we increase and enlarge each other's territory in the midst of our differences, so we still create what you call synergy? Because we're all energy, we're all spiritual beings, and so when you bring the two together, we create this synergy that should be second to none. Here's the difference between what most people are looking for today, Gabe, and what I typically would empower people to look for. Most people are looking for chemistry. Chemistry is great, but if we take it to the next level, how about we look for a connection? Because when you find the connection, you're not going to be connected to everybody. True. You can have chemistry with multiple people. How many times have you, oh my God, we have so much chemistry. But then how many times have you heard somebody, oh my God, we are so connected? Big difference. Now,
that's hard to
it is hard to find, because chemistry can become a byproduct of being connected. I'm not minimizing chemistry. I'm just saying don't make chemistry at the forefront. Look for a connection. When you find a connection, then you've got something that can stand or withstand, because it becomes something awesome to you. I got a question for you, Gabe. Justin Timberlake released a song called "I'm Bringing Sexy Back." Do you believe that sexy is something that you can bring back, or does it ever leave?
Sexy is, I don't think sexy is fleeting. I think it is. Either you're sexy or you're not, right? And I think some women embody sexiness with, just their energy that they emit. And I think if you don't see it and you think it's being brought back, I think that you probably just covered it up. For instance, here in Vegas, you see women that know they're sexy, but they throw on baseball hats and big sweatshirts and sweatpants to try to cover it up. But you can still see the sexy in them, because it's the energy that's coming off of them too. It's not just a look, right? So I don't think sexy comes back or goes forward or goes up and comes down. I think sexy is. I think just sometimes you may cover it up with your attitude or with your ways, inconsistent ways, or being out of your nature or being out of your purpose, and you start to look ugly. But really, that sexy is still under there. It's just that you're a fish out of water right now. So you look like you can't swim, but put you back in the water, man, you're sexy again.
Sexy is what sexy does.
Yeah, sexy is, man.
Sexy is really in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, well,
hey. It's in the eye of the beholder. So, I don't know that maybe it was laying dormant.
Yeah.
But it's there. It's an energy. You hit it. It's an energy that you have within you.
Yes, it's an energy. It's an energy. And guess what? Might be sexy to me today, as far as looking outwardly at a woman, may be sexy to another man. So it's just it is. Sexy is.
Sexy is what sexy does. So what are some of the pros of con of women that you consider sexy?
Sexy can become a tool. And one of the cons of it is if you misuse sexy, you could have a lot of men lose their minds over you because, a man is weak to sex. That's our weakness, right? Or most of us. I mean, because there's some men out there that say, no, I'm not. But, hey, you could misuse sexy and cause men that are weak to it to lose their way. So, you got to be careful. Sometimes you can be too much for someone. And sometimes that will, you won't discover that until you give them a little bit of your attention, right? And one of the pros of sexy, if you use it right, it's a powerful tool, to get things done. And for those that buy into trying to manipulate you out of being sexy or your sex, you can redirect that person into a space where it can benefit you instead of hurting you or being a detriment. So what do I mean by that? Like sometimes in the office, let's say I'm suited and booted and I'm feeling good about myself.
Okay.
And 75% of the clientele that we have in our office are women, right? I may walk into a room and not try to be looking, like I think I'm sexy, because I never thought I was sexy. I mean, that's not me. But I can see that I could use my presence at times to influence people. That's a pro. That's a pro. Okay. A con is when you only use it to influence them and then you don't fulfill what you influenced them for. You don't fulfill your part of the bargain. So that's one of the cons of sexy. Okay. So that's how I see it. It depends on if you're using it for the benefit or the detriment of the person, the onlooker, or the person that is pursuing you.
Good answer. So it can be a friend or it can be a foe.
In many cases, a foe.
Okay.
in Las Vegas, a foe.
Well, that was my next question. I'm glad you would, because I sure was going there, Gabe. Next question.
In
So,
Las
do you
Vegas,
think
you
in
could
Las
get,
Vegas does sexy scream out to in Las Vegas? Do you think that women take their sexy and use it to their advantage?
yeah, this is a sexy town. The town is sexy. I mean, I don't know. When I go home to my hometown, I'm from Virginia, so I'm a country boy to some extent. I mean, we're still dancing and two-stepping in townhouses that we call clubs. Come on, man, this ain't no club. This is a townhouse, right? But when we come to Vegas, we're dancing and two-stepping in edifices. I mean, these are monuments. I mean, come on. The first time that I walked in Tris nightclub in 2005 or 7 or whenever it was, I couldn't believe there was a waterfall in the club, right? This town is built on sexy. So, yes, it screams sexy. Everyone here wants to be sexy. Everyone brings their glitter out when they come to Vegas. Don't you see people on the street with glitter on and right? That's sexy to them, right? So this town is sexy. So don't come here if that's your lose. You could lose your life here trying to pursue sexy.
Sexy, sex, and sensationalism. That's what Vegas is built on: sex and sensationalism. We have that
sensational sex. Or
sensational.
sex. I mean, any way you put it,
that's Vegas all day. Gabe, let me tell you something. It's funny because when I went back home to Philly one year, I was out. Like, if you go out of Vegas about 11 o'clock, it's still a little early for Vegas, but I was out at 11. That's Philly was in the prime because Philly closes probably about 2, like most cities.
Yeah.
But what was interesting to me, Gabe, is I saw a lot of women that had wedding rings on. They were fully dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the women that I saw, for a better choice of using the right vernacular, were not top heavy. They were not top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, wow, it's hard. You're hard plexed to find somebody in Vegas who's not top heavy.
Yeah.
It's hard plexed to find someone who's not completely fully dressed. And that's just Vegas. Yeah. You're right. You hit it on the head. It's Vegas. Yeah. It's sensationalism. It's sexiness. That's what Vegas is building. Sin City. What happens in Vegas? What stays?
The girls in Vegas consider themselves their brand, right? And in a serious way, will invest in themselves, their bodies to, So In Vegas, you're going to find that much more often than you would in some other cities. And so, you just gotta accept that that's the fact of the matter. Women are investing in their bodies.
We're a hospitality. This is Vegas is built on hospitality, so a lot of women in Vegas work in the hospitality industry. So the more sexier you look to the public, the bigger your tips. In terms of even being waitresses in
Yes,
casinos, or however you work in these casinos. So I get it. That's why they invest, and Vegas is a different place. So we're
yes,
built on exactly what you're saying.
yes.
Next, I got another question. So, does sexy scream out sex to you when a woman uses her sexiness to her advantage? And I think that's a great question based off what we're talking about Vegas.
I I don't think it screams out. Some of these girls recognize it just as it is a job. It's just their brand. That's what they do, and don't mistake that to be an invitation to approach them and think that you can just say anything out your mouth. I mean, there's some
Right.
ladies. There's some ladies that just look extremely sexy, but inside there's a lady there, and you're like, wow, okay, I didn't realize that, because you could come off, talking crazy and find that you're talking to someone that's really intelligent, really sharp, and doesn't want to be approached like that. I liken it to going to a adult entertainment venue and then spending a lot of money with a young lady that you feel you have some chemistry or connection with, whichever one, but and see them in Whole Foods the next day and walk up and say, "Hey, yesterday," and they're like, "Excuse me," and walk off on you. And that's when you realize that's the business of entertainment club. That wasn't a connection. That wasn't chemistry. That was business. So you got to be very careful, how you perceive sexiness here in Vegas or even abroad. Some women, that's their brand, that's their business. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not
Mm-hmm.
that they want to be approached because of it. It's just, hey, this is what I do. Leave me alone.
And I think there's a misnomer in regards to when we males see a sexy woman, we may sometimes equate that to not having content. That there's no sustenance within that person because we think it's all body, no brain.
Yeah.
But a lot of times there's brain that matches the body, and so
Yes.
as well as the beauty.
Yes.
So, I think that we cannot automatically formulate in our mind that we can talk any kind of way and present ourselves, without having the etiquette to present
Yes.
ourselves properly because we see someone who we think is sexy. So,
Yes.
gentlemen, men who are listening to me today, please always maneuver with respect.
Respect. Yeah.
Always maneuver with respect. You know what, Gabe? We're going to take a commercial break. I'm going to come back and talk to you a little bit more. I'm enjoying this. So we're going to come right back after this commercial. I've got Gabriel Brown. He is my guest today. We'll be right back.
Credit service organization in the state that has a license to do credit repair ends in .255. That's a credit bureau license. We're not a credit bureau, but we have a credit bureau license.
Very good experience. I knew nothing about different things on my credit now that I know, and I'm happy. Thank you very much.
Fraud alerts. Does anyone know that the FBI says number one crime in America is identity theft?
We met with Mr. Brown. He's been very informative, helped me out a lot so far. I hope to continue to.
Mr. Brown was very knowledgeable, he was very professional, and the information he gave was very informative.
Gabe, look like you're doing a lot of work there, my friend. You're helping a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that's been my passion for the last 15 years. I tell you, giving these public free workshops and hosting a radio show called Help Your Life for 3 years, traveling around the country doing seminars. I mean, this has become my passion. So I love watching that video you just showed there.
It's funny because I'm watching you as it's on. I'm watching. I don't know if you can see I was watching you, and like
Yeah,
you were glowing. Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
really were.
yeah,
You were glowing as it was showing because it's obvious that's your passion and I think what you're doing, man, you're helping people get sexy. If you
yeah.
really want to think about it, because when a person feels confident about who they are themselves, again, confidence for a lot of people equate to being sexy.
Yes.
Men always maneuver with respect. Great advice, Reg. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Somebody said. So, listen, those of you that are watching us on Facebook Live, we certainly appreciate you today taking time. We are an hour behind. You know, we normally come on at 12 noon, so we were an hour behind. It was outside of our circumstances, beyond what we could do. But hey, we're here consistently every week at 12 noon. So today, being an hour late, please accept our humblest apologies. But if you're watching us on Facebook Live, we certainly appreciate you today. Some of you are going to watch us on YouTube. We certainly appreciate you. And then there will be those of you who will check us out tonight on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. Thank you for being with us for years now on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. That's one of the greatest radio stations in the country. If you love old school hip hop, 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. I'm on every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Reggie's Recess, where you get real talk about real relationships. And then some of you will watch us on the Win Network. If you have not downloaded the Win Network, you make sure you get the Win Network added to your arsenal. Tell somebody about Reggie's Recess. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell someone to tune in to Reggie's Recess, where you're going to always get real talk about real relationships. And I do my best to give you a Reggie's relationship recipe. Hey Gabe, I got to trademark that Reggie's
Yeah.
relationship recipe.
I like that. I like
so
that for you.
Hey man, how does what you do in aiding in fixing a person's credit impact women, make them feel good about themselves so that they feel sexy about themselves? Give me some testimonies, because I've been doing this for many, many, many years. I'm sure you've got something that's that's in your heart.
Yeah, well, I tell you, as I said, 75% of the clientele that we have are women. And I meet with our clients and do free consultations in our office. So it's about 30-minute consultation. And I see women come in, every day, tormented by their inability to take care of themselves in the way they imagine. See, it's one thing to just take care of yourself and on, looking outwardly at that, you think, hey, you're handling your business, you're taking care of yourself. But people have imaginations of what they really want to see happening for themselves. And so you can be bitter about not being able to provide for yourself in the way you feel would be congruent with your imagination for you. So when I see these women and I teach them how to leverage their credit 3 to 10 times their income, and I teach them in short order how to make these moves, how to build the credit, how we're going to fix the credit, and we get them in and out of the program in 4 months, and we deliver. You should see they glow. I mean, they just feel so grateful. I've had people bring their family members back. I've had people refer friends from, other states. I've had people invite me to their jobs to speak to their staff. And so it's really fulfilling to see women become independent when they see that their credit is good enough to now leverage it with their income, and then to see that they can provide for their kids, and then to see them invest the money into real estate, businesses, the stock market. It's just, it's a good thing, right? A lot of the brothers that come in the office as well, doing the same thing. So I want to salute the brothers for taking care of their families, handling their business, building their credit. But most of the people that come in are women, and you can see them blossom. You can see them flourish when their credit is restored. So yeah, I think that's sexy. I mean, just knowing that you can handle your business and handle an emergency if it pops up, that's sexy.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, yeah,
I love what you're doing. You know, I've known you for many, many years. We've
yeah,
always been very close. You've always had that heart to help people and to aid, and so that people are in a
yeah.
much
That's right.
better position. So it's all about positioning, and you do help with that. And so the subtitle of this month is "Start Attracting What You Want," and in essence, really, you are helping people to attract what they want by putting them in a better position so that they can get what they want. So
Yes,
this ties in
yes.
extremely well with what you have going on. Gabe, I got to let you go here shortly, but before I let you go, I want to know, when we talk about sexy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anywhere else that we could go, because I think you touched on everything. I think you've handled it very well. I think you've, according to our chat over here, they said your guns was loaded. They said you fired really well. So, for me, Gabe, my question to you then would be: sexy comes in all shapes, sizes, and colors. But sexy can be something that could be so insignificant as just watching somebody's idiosyncrasies and falling in love with someone's idiosyncrasies, just how they do what they do. And then you added on to that the purpose of why they do what they do. How important is purpose to you?
Uh, Purpose is extremely important. You froze up.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So purpose is extremely important because, until you figure out and what you were created for, you moving and operating like you're happy and like everything. There's always that inner knowing that there's a missing piece to you actually being confident that what you are doing and what you were sent and created for on this planet, you are actually in that lane. That is the lane you're operating in. And so sometimes when you don't have your purpose and you're not operating in your purpose, something about you that they can't put their finger on, and they think maybe you're pretending, or they think maybe you're trying to get them for something. Really, that there is a missing piece of you, and that part that sense about you is not that you are trying to take advantage or you're trying to be mysterious, have ulterior motives. It's just you haven't found yourself. Share that with everyone that you meet, so you kind of hold a little bit of yourself, hide yourself. I think when you are misread like that, you lose these because people can't put their finger on what it is about you that they. And when they can't figure you out, people don't bring you under their wing. So when you have and people can figure out, hey, you're consistently consistent in your ways, right? Your being is authentic. The way you move, they want to be around you. And so your purpose can expand your opportunity. So once you find it, things seem to open up even more for you.
So in short, you would say that once you find it, that helps you to really start attracting what you want.
Yes, yes, yes. If you're not in your lane and you're just kind of doing things to be doing, like my father told me many years ago, he said, don't confuse activity with progress. Just because
Yeah.
you're in
Yeah.
motion don't mean you're going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Right? So if you don't know your purpose, you're just in activities. That doesn't mean you're progressing. But if you're in your purpose, oh man, that's progress. And people will support that. People will encourage that. People will get involved with that. That's what a good leader is. So lead yourself first before you try to lead others. Find your purpose, find your lane.
Two things, Gabe. My dad said something very similar. My dad said, don't confuse being busy with being a busybody." Because there are a lot of people who are busy bodies, but they're really not busy.
There it is.
You see,
Right,
and that's
right.
you. So what you're saying is extremely important.
I'm
And
going to
then
give
the
you
other
another.
thing that
Go ahead.
go
My
ahead. Now
apologies.
let's hear it. I want to hear it. Go.
My
No,
father
you're good.
gave my father gave me another one. He said, "Don't confuse a busy man with a businessman, right? So, I mean, so yeah, a lot of people are moving and they look like they handling their business. They just busy, so be careful.
A lot of commotion, but really it's not a good moment. It's a lot of commotion with very little momentum.
Yes, yes, yes,
So,
yes,
uh,
yes.
what's the difference between a monument and a movement?
Ooh, I like that. I'm a snatch that if it hasn't been copywritten.
A movement is just standing erect. A monument is just standing erect, but a movement is it's just about something.
Yeah,
It's moving with purpose.
yeah, it is.
So I think what you guys are hearing us say, because this is extremely important, and this is in this modern day, what we call this new age thinking. One of the words that is a power word in the new age thinking is intentional.
Intentional.
You have to be intentional. Be very intentional. That goes back to what we talked about, Gabe, with moving or maneuvering with respect. Be intentional
Yes,
as you maneuver. So there should be a method behind how you maneuver. If there's no
yes.
method behind how you maneuver, then how can you hit the target? Because you don't even know what you're aiming for.
That's real. That's real. I like that. Thank you.
They're gonna hear my voice, but I can't be the last voice to hear before I let you go. So you got to add something to it, Gabe. More
Well,
than that's
okay.
real. Come on.
Well, speaking about voices, I say to people all the time, my voice is an invoice. Become impactful enough where when people hear your voice, you can send an invoice to them. Because if you're not paying attention, you're selling attention. I say, make your voice an invoice.
Love it, love it. Don't go nowhere. I got to take a commercial. I'm gonna just let you hang out with me till the end of the show because
Indeed.
I like your energy.
I'm here.
Love the energy. So don't go. I got to take a commercial. I got to listen. So if you guys are interested in being a sponsor, we're gonna show you how.
Hello. Thank you for watching and being a friend to Reggie's Recess. We're on a mission. Our goal is to empower 1 million women. It costs a great deal of money to keep this mission moving forward. We have created a wonderful opportunity for our viewers and friends to align themselves with us so that we can achieve this goal. Please consider making a conscious decision to be a supporter and sponsor. We have 3 levels.
Silver at $100. You'll receive a C. Regi Rogers signature one-man woman t-shirt. Gold at $250. You'll receive a C. Regi Rogers signature one-man woman t-shirt and baseball hat. Platinum at $500. You'll receive a one-man woman baseball hat, t-shirt, a C. Regi Rogers book and workbook entitled Love at First Spirit.
For your gift to the show and C. Regi Rogers' #1 relationship coach, you get a piece of the One Man Woman Tour memorabilia. Go to www.cregirogers.com, click on the link Sponsorship or Cash App, $CLOYDRODGERS. If you like our merchandise, you can actually order your t-shirts, hats, and books. Go to www.onemanwoman.com.
Hey, listen, if you have not taken the time to go to cregirogers.com and you're not a sponsor, there are several levels for you there. You go 3 levels. You can be a silver sponsor, a gold sponsor, a platinum sponsor. Go to cregirogers.com. Click on the link that says sponsorship. I'd love for you to be a sponsor. Or if you just want to order some merchandise, we've got great merchandise, and especially for the summer, you ladies, we've got some great tees, V-necks, tank tops, hats, baseball hats. Gabriel talked about earlier how a woman can put a baseball hat on and still be sexy. So get your baseball hat, t-shirt by going to onemanwoman.com. There it is on the screen, onemanwoman.com. And there again, those of you that are listening to us on Facebook Live, thank you for taking the time out, sharing with us today on Facebook Live. If you're going to hear us tonight on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte, I certainly appreciate all of you that listen to us every week on 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're on every Wednesday, 87.9 Heat FM Charlotte. Some of you will see us on YouTube. Thank you. And others will catch us on the Win Network. We certainly appreciate that. That just means we're spreading out our wings. We're increasing our territory. We're enlarging our territory. We're going into new geographical areas. And so that's how we're able to do it, through your sponsorship. So continue to be sponsors. Tell somebody, tune in to Reggie's Recess. Tell somebody they need to order some merchandise. And not all it says is one man woman. If you order it, you're telling you're a one-man woman. If you're a male and you want to order it for your woman, you're telling the world that your woman is a one-man woman. So go to onemanwoman.com. Gabe, listen,
Yes.
we got to get out of here just momentarily. How can people find you? Tell people where you are. Let people know. So I'm sure people want to, continue to see what Gabriel is doing.
Yeah, and I would also like to offer to your audience some of my books for free. I have a credit education guide I would like to give to them called From Homeless to Black Cards. And they can find me at 702-434-4414. Again, that's 702-434-4414. And then they can go to our website as well. It is VivixCreditSolutions.com. VivixCreditSolutions.com.
You saw the number there on the screen, as well as you see the website there on the screen. Now, Gabe, real quick, tell them a little bit about that From Homeless to Black Card, because that's a give us the Reader's Digest version. Tell people what happened. How'd you go from being homeless to a black card? That's awesome.
Well, I was
that's
on the
sexy, man.
Yeah,
I mean, that's sexy.
Yeah, that was sexy. Still is.
Did we lose him? Yes, we did. Gabe, hopefully he'll chime back in. He was just about to tell his test. He got excited about it being sexy. So hopefully he'll chime back in. Let me see. Should we take a commercial and then come back? Hopefully we can get him back in. Can we go back to give us the Win commercial, and then we'll come right back in right after this.
Hi, I'm Ernest L. Thomas from the Waldens, and you need to download the Win Network app now, or else it's gonna be tragic. Tragic!
Well, I guess we lost our guest. He got excited about telling he was going to tell us all how he went from being homeless to a black card. And that's a true testimony. I remember Gabriel when he first came to the city, and he was homeless and went from that to a black card. Very successful businessman in the city. I think we got him back. So let's see.
Yeah, I'm back.
We got you back.
I'm not sure what happened.
You got excited about telling the people how you went from homeless to a black card, and you just super excited.
Yeah, what I was saying.
You were getting ready to give us the Reader's Digest version. So tell us how you did it.
Yeah, I moved from the East Coast and really didn't have a plan. And I kind of lost everything I owned on the East Coast when I moved to Vegas in 2005. And when I got here, I touched down with very little money in my pocket and didn't realize that I was really serious about background checks and having good credit in order to a place to live. And so I get a place, moving around in the streets, hanging out and sleeping in clubs during the night and walking the streets during the day. And in 2006, Credit Solution was founded, and it was first in marketing, and then it shifted to a credit service organization. And I repaired my own credit and became a living example of what good credit looks like. There's about 92 credit cards. I don't suggest you get that many. They're for show for me, but they're all good credit cards, black cards, everything. And so after 10 years of doing credit repair, I found that there was 46 recurring that all the clients continue to ask me. So I put questions in a book and called it From Homeless, to put a picture of my black card on it and a picture of me on the book. And now I give that book away because it's a credit education, because those 46 questions will be everything that you could imagine about with regards to credit. So I give that away on the website talked about earlier, VivixCreditSolutions.com, and I hope that you copy.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And I think, Gabe, I met you right around 2006, actually. That's right around the time I met you. You had just moved into that office, and I came in, walked the office. Next thing I know, you blew up. So I used to see all these signs around, and we fix it fast. We fix it fast. So,
Yes, that's our motto. Bad credit, we fix it fast. I know it's, the syntax and, the punk, it's just not good verbiage, but it sounds good to me. And we've been using that motto now for 15 years.
and it has worked. Well,
Yes.
listen, I got to close this show. And Gabe, it's been fun. It's been real. I certainly appreciate you being my guest. But listen, I want to close with this. I think being sexy is far more important for love and sex than beauty. Both being sexy and being beautiful enhance romantic attraction. Beauty is characterized as pleasing the aesthetic senses. Sexy is defined as causing feelings of sexual excitement. But being described as sexy can be flattering if you are attracted to the person saying it. If not, it can be perceived as an insult. We'll be back next week with another show as we continue to go further and deeper into this topic of bringing sexy back so you can start attracting what you want. Thank you. We'll be back next week. You guys have a great, great, great rest of the day. Gabe, thank you for being my guest. You were awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.